Let's get started. Richard, you want to, Mr. Hannah would like to introduce somebody to us. And, they got to go get some good water, so we'll let them go back out of here.
Mr. President, members of council, I'd like to introduce Bill Henderson, who's going to be the new general manager as of January 1st. We want to assure the council that we'll continue to cooperate with y'all, especially with your maintenance and engineering department, and we stand ready to help in any way. We have a good relationship with the city, and we want to continue that. Mr. Mayor.
Looking forward to it. Contrary to
Yeah, contrary to your email to me.
He always goes happy.
Now, who's he replacing? Is he replacing you?
Yeah, you can replace it. No, I'm still going to be the chief executive
No, I
officer.
didn't think that, but aren't you acting like that?
Well, I'm acting on one of those non-paying jobs.
Anyway, you do a good job. Appreciate it.
Any way that we can help you with your constituents with that, Bill, I will take care of any problems that y'all might have.
Bill been there 29 years.
Bill's been there 29 years. He came in.
He knows where all the cutoffs at.
Yes, sir, he knows where it is, and we're working on it.
Remember the day you hired?
Yeah, in a while.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You're doing it. We'll do that, yeah. Anyway,
Okay. First item on the agenda is the veto of the mayor veto.
Can I speak to that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
I spoke both to Charlie and to Tracy who did it. When I got to thinking about it and talking to the various individuals that this would impact, I remember that Tracy Larkin suggested that the real issue in this resolution was to call for a plan by our revenue people relative to these issues by the 18th. And his statement to me, or to us, was that's really what this is all about. As we started to look at how you might, really what it means, how you might implement it, what conflicts that there might in fact be there without having to change several of the ordinances, that's really all what the 18th is all about, or that plan is all about. And so, in my view, the best way to not create conflict and confusion was to veto it with the statement, and it's clearly stated here in the veto message. The last item regarding the plan for the franchise by December 18th council meeting is agreeable and will be presented. I said in my message, this resolution is ambiguous, superfluous, and confusion as an implementation authority. City council should not make laws through resolution. And so that was my veto message, but the commitment that I make and that Mary makes is that on the 18th, we will have a plan. But I will also tell you that the plan that's presented on the 18th will not be definitive in that you can't present a plan with conflicting statutes that are all already on the books that we've got to clean up in this process. It really centers around a lot of different things, but primarily the issue of businesses and residences. And we got to figure out how to deal with that. And so that's going to be part and parcel of what we're trying to do, or at least presenting to you what the options are. And certainly Brett will be a part of this, but we're trying to go through everything that's there and see where the conflicts may or may not be. But the commitment is made that we will have a plan.
Well, I'd like to go on record saying that I can accept the gesture of the veto, but I think that's really all it is. I don't think that a veto is necessary in this particular instance. I don't see anything really ambiguous or superfluous about the language, because basically all it does is restate what the business license ordinance says, almost verbatim.
But the business license ordinance is in conflict with some of the other existing ordinances.
Well, why does it exist?
Well, I didn't make those ordinances.
I don't generally say at the end of most of the ordinances that if this ordinance is in conflict with some other ordinance, there's some action.
Well, in this particular case, if that's in fact the case, it's null and void because it does in fact conflict.
So what does the conflict?
Well, just the issues of businesses and residential areas. And that's a very simple one, and it's multifaceted. But my veto is not in the spirit of veto, but it's in the spirit of saying, we will present a plan to you on this. As I told you, I hate to do it, but that was the most efficient way. I knew how to not have all of the issues that we wouldn't know how to implement until we solve these other issues that will be presented on the 18th. Barry, if you want to speak to that, I don't know how far you've gotten with that whole evaluation. I know you've had a couple of meetings.
Have got together with legal, with inspections, and that is, in a nutshell, one of the key issues. Our zoning does not allow businesses to take place in residential areas. It is something that can be corrected, and what we're looking at is the best way to correct it. Should we change the ordinance on zoning? Should we maybe look at, instead of requiring a business license, maybe require a registration, which is a little different, but it gets everybody registered, it gives us a list of who the landlords are, and it gives us the ability to track them and have housing codes go in and look for violations, which I think is what a lot of guys are looking for. So there's more than one way to crack the nut, and we're just trying to work with legal to see what's most efficient for the city while imposing the least amount of liability to the city. We don't want to be in a position where we issue a license for something and it adversely impact us in some kind of litigation. So, my commitment to you last meeting is we're going to do that.
Is that the primary reason that we have not in the past attempted to enforce the business license ordinance as it relates to real estate properties and rentals and leases?
That's it. There are a few business license ordinances that we uncover from time to time that it's like, we know y'all didn't intend to let this slip through, but you did, and we clean them up as we find them. You may remember when we had a group from Birmingham come in to look for unlicensed businesses. One big unlicensed business they found was St. James, and they sent an invoice for about $125,000.
Yeah.
You guys find out
Remember
about
that very well.
we never intended to license private schools, but if you look at the ordinance, it was in there. So there's some things that we have that we need to clean up. This is one of them, and we will have a full report, at least laying out all the issues and how we are.
It's not all rental properties that haven't been licensed, right?
I'm sorry?
It's not all the rental properties, we're trying to capture what you have not required license.
That's
on
right.
rental properties.
Anything larger than a quadruplex, we require a license on. I mean, that's like a full, apartments with 5 units or more, we require a business license. Quadruplex and smaller, we have not enforced that part of it because of some of the issues.
How do you legally require a business license of some of them and not all of them?
Well,
I mean, what makes it legal to do that?
could be an interpretation. I mean, it is a lot with 5 or more units. Is that considered residential property? I don't know. And there are some legal arguments that kind of came out from legal in this process. Is the business taking place in the residence, or is the business the actual leasing of the property which takes place at a different location? So there's maybe some angles that we can.
Commercial, I mean, generally our commercial license are applicable for a property that's carrying on a business on that property, and so that's kind of what we're looking at is, one, if I moved out of my house and rented it out, is that a commercial lease? I mean, is that operating business because I'm renting my house out to somebody on that residential property? That's kind of where some of the confusion is.
And then another thing we're looking to try to do is put a little bit of teeth into it, in that, is there a way that we can get these license fees considered to be abatements and tacked on to attached to the property taxes, so when they renew their property taxes, they have to clear these up. trying to look to see if there's some things we can do.
We've got in our license code that, it creates a lien if you don't pay your license, but it's kind of a different thing than just a license if we do. I mean, it's kind of like if it's a license, then we're gonna have to create some kind of license that's applicable to residential property that's not a commercial license. Is that correct? Basically, if it's a registration or a certification, then we might can capture those that are under 4 we'll still have to amend the ordinance. I mean, either way, we're gonna have to do some changes to the ordinance.
And at the end of the day, we're all aligned at the same goal. Some of our goals is the dealing with dilapidation and being able to regulate it. So my goal is the additional revenue that we're gonna get by having additional business licenses, particularly as it relates to Airbnb. I mean, we've got several hundred Airbnbs that pay no taxes whatsoever today because of the inconsistency or confusion or non-applicability of Airbnb. And we're working with the company itself to do something voluntarily until we do something that would address the fact that they're not paying any taxes.
Different strategy, but we're going full on that as well.
That's
Just-
I'm sorry.
But just, you run into, I mean, Charlie's got 4 houses and say, I got 100. Do I get 100 business licenses? Does he get 4?
I mean, you know, we got 2 pages of issues, that obviously was one of them. And we think the easiest way is kind of like a multi-location in a fast food local restaurant. If you get one license with A, B, C, D, E, AA until you get up to 100, you'd have a different specific license. So if your house number 76 was out of compliance, we can target that one and issue violations on that one without having a problem on your other 99.
And I guess that question along with that is almost with number 2. I mean, going kind of hand in hand with, I don't know that we don't, I don't know, look at it as a whole. I don't know.
Well, that obviously is another issue that gets tied together.
I think we can look at it from the perspective of what we try to look at it in this fee schedule and the Nation Building's proposed ordinance, which says that if you own up to a certain number, you pay a certain amount. If you own up to a certain number of tax parcels, they're all treated as if they're on one tax parcel. I think that's the simplest and the most straightforward way to deal with it and to fairly and equitably deal with it. That you're not looking at somebody who has 100 houses having 100 licenses. They have one license for the 100 houses.
They all do.
But if you pull,
All across
yes,
city though.
and on separate tax parcels,
different parcels,
that's what the law says.
But if he's in violation of one house of the 99 of the 100, and you pull the license, does that mean you can no longer rent the other 99?
Well, why would you pull the license?
I mean, because he's in violation.
For one house? I mean,
Yes.
I would think that would be somewhat,
I mean, it could be.
Well, that's what Barry was talking about.
These are
having-
exactly-
We gotta work that out.
I think that would be,
There'd be ways to address.
I mean, no, it could be a violation to the extent where this person is running a crack house and you know, whatever, just running drugs through one house, even though he used the drug money to buy the other 99. So this individual got one license, but yet he's still renting the other 99 that we pulled. What I'm saying is when you pull the license, if that is part of it, the ordinance, then does that affect the other 99? Can he now, those people stay rent free?
I would think that at the discretion of someone who has a sound mind, who's running anything like this, they would not pull somebody's license for one violation out of 100.
But you gotta find a way.
those kinds of-
You can't. Therefore, we can never pull a license.
That's a judgment call, and I don't think we need to leave it up to judgment call.
You know,
Well,
if
there
you
are
have
many
one
things that are left
license
up to judgment calls.
with an A, B,
You
C,
can't
D,
legislate every single thing.
I mean, I think you can treat every house as a different, I mean, it is a different locations. I think you'll have one license that'll be overall of it. You'll allow them to combine all of their rental income for purposes to calculate the license, because the license starts, it is from $0 to $100,000. So somebody with 10 or fewer houses would only pay the minimum license fee from 0 to 100,000, as opposed to having to get 10 separate ones and have to pay 10 minimum fees. So it's not like we're trying to break somebody.
Right.
We just wanna get the
Well,
information.
you wanna register these people first of all, that's the bottom line. Then you know where to go and get it. You got a registered product, then you can deal with who it is, and I guarantee you, if guy got 100, he's not gonna lose something over one house.
That's right. We'll have a way
He's gonna straighten
to
up.
address that one house, water it out.
May I have a question?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
I don't get a policy issue. Let me get involved with the executive part, with the legislative part. Now, most of us up here don't have a legal mind, including this attorney that deals, I'm not a lawyer. And so we don't have a lawyer to tell us when we may be doing something in violation of the law. And so in the spirit of cooperativeness, I think y'all left us out there, hung us out there to dry, because nobody said anything, and I'm not kicking you in the butt, Mr. Mayor. If you come up and had told us this right here, said, listen, I have reservations, because I don't want to vote for anything, you got to carry it out. And if you got reservations about carrying something out on a legal issue, then I think we should give some deference to what you're going to say or what the executive party is going to say. So what we did in essence went out and voted on something that we had no business, I don't mean to have the business, that maybe if these issues could have been brought up, maybe we said, okay, we're going to vote, we should vote on it. So that's just my point from now on. If you've got reservations, even if you lose, I don't want to call it lose and win, even if we vote against something you say, most of us will take deference to if there's going to be a problem of carrying out, because you all have to execute. So what you're saying now, I think that the mayor and I talked about earlier, that'd be a problem to execute it. So now, having said that, let me just ask you this right here, Miss Attorney. Sometimes when you say something about the liability of the city, we can insulate ourselves by getting an Attorney General's opinion. It's not going to insulate us from saying it's wrong, but it should would insulate us if we rely on the Attorney General's opinion. And we act in good faith, am I correct? That would insulate the city from any liability to the extent that we violate the law or something like that. So that might be something that if we have a problem sometimes, we might want to get an Attorney General opinion. Not that, I've been an Attorney General opinion, I know that just an opinion, but it does give us some information, I think.
Congressman, Councilor.
I didn't make it, man.
We've actually done that, but, in all due respect to your comment, I get these the same time you do. I actually did not see mine until Monday morning. Actually,
You got somebody legal.
But I was going to tell you, the legal person was bringing her mother back from Florida. The finance person was committed, and so we didn't even get a chance to talk about this until the day of. And then if we'd have tried to get an Attorney General's opinion, this becomes law within 10 days from that Tuesday. So again, as I told Tracy, I hated to veto it because I hate to veto action of the council. But that was the only way I knew of to stop any activity going forward. But in the spirit of the resolution, as he stated, was to get the report on the 18th. And I've committed to get the report on the 18th.
And I hate for you veto the city council because it's,
Well, you forced me to all the time. You forced me to when you passed these things about payment of the taxes, and then I have to veto you.
But see, if you come in and just say, listen, let's hold up, got a reservation. I think we could put our little thinking cap on a little bit more than that. It's not criticizing, it's just a thought.
I'll take it as criticism, and I'll take it as constructive.
All right.
Don't complicate the matter.
All right, I think we've,
No, I'm not.
it's a big difference.
I want to support it.
It's not the end.
I want to know why we committed Barry. Todd said
Item number 2.
Barry was committed.
Yeah.
Mr. Larkin, tell us about where you want to go with this.
But I just want to hold it in abeyance for now,
You're gonna veto it.
I would like to distribute, to all council members, a copy of what's on the table now, what we substituted at the last meeting, along with a copy of an optional approach, which the legal department has prepared. I think that, it will be one in the smaller print.
That's the one, that's
The standalone ordinance and not an amendment. What we put on the table at the last meeting, what was originally proposed was an amendment to the existing ordinance. One of the legal opinions is it might be a better idea to do it as a standalone ordinance rather than as an amendment to the existing ordinance. So the standalone copy is the most recent that was done, and the one that's on the table is the other. And I think everybody should take a copy of each of those.
Councilor
And-
Larkin, that one is not what is in the packet. That is the house cleaned one that Kim did according to the email that you sent us that you thought was
So
cleaning
this
it up.
is not the one that's.
That
in
would
the
have to
packet.
be a substitute
This one-
also,
that cleans up
or
this.
the standalone. Either one of those two that you've got would have to be a substitute. Because there's differences in both of those from what is in your packet that was carried over last time.
Yes. Now,
Why don't we withdraw everything in one?
what would be the,
Just introduce a new something instead of keep
Withdraw this,
substitute.
and then resubmit the corrected. You
okay.
got too many things on the table there. And we have to have a copy for you.
I've got one question. Are you expecting
Everybody's
us to vote on this and put it in place?
No, sir, not today.
You say, because I found so much wrong with this last one. I got a week, 2 weeks to look.
Well, I think you just take,
That's what we'd like.
you withdraw what you got, resubmit that for the next meeting, and then let it carry over.
Take as long as you need. And I'd like to know whatever people think is wrong with it, what you think is right with it, what you think ought to be amended in it. If you have improvements to it, we'd like to hear all of that.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we withdraw what you got? Put this on the first meeting in January, and let everybody have time to read it, and we can work on it during this holiday time, because it's gonna be a bad situation. So that would give us time to look over and see what we gotta do. So let's do that, get on the next one.
Yes, sir. You think it's gonna be a bad situation? Is that what you-
No, I'm not ready.
We also got to make it, it's gonna be a controversial
I've got three
situation.
things on the
It's,
table here, and to get this thing cleaned up, we need to get rid of something and have something in hand. And you got three different points.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Attorney's trying to
So
say
you're-
something.
so
And I
you're-
just wanna, whatever y'all decide, whatever you put on the table, I mean, I've kind of changed that and made a standalone ordinance based on what you had originally submitted rather than amending an already existing chapter, but it still hasn't really been vetted. And based on, the rental stuff, I don't know that it may not be helpful to look with all the internal departments on the rental. I mentioned it to them last week. I mean, I think housing codes and finance, I know housing codes will have the vacant property is what they're gonna be primary looking at, but they kinda came in last week. They're kinda hand in hand, sorta. I mean, although finance is collecting the rental license for the rental properties, it's kinda like, I don't know that the vacant properties and rental properties may not need to be considered at the same time because of the parties, the internal departments involved, to see how they'll play off of each other. I can see where they might overlap. Does that make sense?
Do we need to have another work session on whatever you introduced today?
Yeah.
I think
Well-
that, I think that the chairman's recommendation gives
I
us
think
an
that
opportunity to do any and all of that.
But there's a lot of people, Tracy, that we got emails, I know you got them, that have concerns, and gives them a chance to come down here and tell you what those concerns are. And I want to actually applaud you for putting something on here controversial for the first time. It ain't me doing something.
Say again, sir.
Yeah, I said I applaud you for putting something controversial on there. But normally it's me that riles
let's-
people up.
But for the record also, let us make clear that the folks that you've heard from who have all these concerns of people who rent houses and sell houses. Believe me, overwhelming majority of the citizens of the city of Montgomery support this idea, support these concepts of cleaning up this city. And if we want to pit the real estate community against the neighborhood association community and call that controversial, then let's do it. Because I believe the people want to see some management of these neglected properties.
And I think the real estate people do too.
The real estate want to clean up too, because you got folks coming from outside of Montgomery that don't live here, that rent a bunch of houses, they don't manage them, then they get their money and run, and the real estate folks here, the association professionals that they are, don't want that mess here either, because it makes them look bad. So we need to consult with them, because they are the ones that are gonna do the thing professionally and do it correctly, and if they don't, they're gonna hurt their own roof. So we need to support them and make sure that they get the bad guys. Because our job here, we want the bad guys. We don't want the good guys are doing a good job. We're not worried about them. We want the bad guys. The bad guys create the life that we're having to, how many we have today, 150, 200?
They're already compliant.
Well, it's not, they are. So, let's get,
They're having to pay a lot of fees.
we're after bad guys.
Okay,
Okay, all right, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this off the table today, and then resubmit that for the 18th, and in the meantime, we're all gonna study. That good?
So I think that we can probably find a way that the real estate investors who want their property to increase in value, as well as police the neighborhoods. But I think, like I said, some of the calls I got was on the amount of paperwork that they have to do. So I think
Nobody's asking them to do anything.
but I think what we're looking for is those houses that probably been sitting there for a year.
Let's not let these misconceptions go forward. There is no requirement for anybody to do any paperwork who owns a real estate company, who rents a house.
It's gotta be.
It's
gotta be.
It's,
If I've got
listen,
a
once
manage
again,
folk, then
once
that's
again,
fine.
let me make the statement again. If we want to pit the special interests against the interests of the people of the city of Montgomery, let's do that, and I'll have all the controversy we want.
But Tracy, I don't think it's,
I
I don't think it's special interest. You're
You're
saying that totally wrong.
Hold.
I don't think my mother who sells real estate special interest, and if they have concerns, I think we as a council should sit down and listen to them, whether we're gonna agree with them
We
or
have
not.
listened to them. We've had several
Okay, well.
meetings where we invited them to come. We listened to their concerns. We incorporated some of their ideas into the ordinance that you have on the table here today. But I mean, I don't have a problem. We want to be fair. We want to be fair to the real estate community. We want to be fair to anyone who chooses to rent or lease residential properties, the commercial properties. We want to be fair, but most of all, we want to be fair to the people. And we want to be fair to the future of the city. And that's what I'm concerned about.
Okay, all right, we have a plan. Okay?
What is the plan, Charles? What is the plan?
We're gonna
Did it
draw
enter
what we got and resubmit.
on the 18th? Okay.
The next, first meeting in January, okay?
Okay.
First meeting in January.
Okay.
Later,
It would be new business.
Have you got all day in the middle of it? Don't deal with it. Yes, sir, on number 3.
Number 3, the planning commission recommended the rezoning to B2. It was unanimous.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what I'm gonna do with that, that's in my district, and I talked to John Stanley and them. This is a paint store that's existing already in a residential area, and I'm gonna put a cute qualifier on this, and that qualifier is just going to, make 2 statements. One, there could be no drive-throughs. They wanna keep the same distance today, but we're gonna go from residential into a B2. So it's gonna say, no drive-throughs and no alcohol. So that's the only 2. He was good with it, his client's good with it, so that's all I'm doing.
Sounds good, okay. Next item.
Next item is recommended by the planning commission to rezone to M1 for warehouse use.
Okay.
Now, Charles, I'm gonna get up on that one, I'm working with that, so I'll excuse myself, I'll walk out on this one.
Okay.
I didn't walk out on the last one, so
And
this one I
rezoning
need
to
to.
light industrial. Yes. And no objection. Yes. Okay. Good. 5.
Number 5 was request to rezone M1 and justify or legitimize a illegal junkyard. And it was denied, it was recommended not to approve the rezone. This existing junkyard is there, illegal.
Illegal.
Yes.
So why,
And this is-
why are we letting it stay?
This is, mine, and I've been working with the guy on it, and it was rezoned. And, he's appealing it. And,
It wasn't rezoned.
No.
no, it hasn't been rezoned. I think the planning voted to rezone, and he
Voted
voted
not
against
to.
it.
Denied the recommendation.
Denied it.
Was not,
Yeah,
And he's appealing it to you.
to us, appeal to us for, override him.
Override.
Let me ask something, I know it's in your district, Mr. Green,
you're good.
is that on Maryland, I mean, on
On
On bridge.
the one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, what my understanding was that they wanted to change it from an M1 to M3, and that he was opposed to it. So that, I mean, I've been speaking with him about it, and me, he and I were going back and forth. Matter of fact, we even tried to find us some city land for him to, this is the one that we were trying to actually get him to move. Then we actually came back and said, okay, put a fence around it. So,
It's in one, and they wanted to go to M3, and in order to have a legal junkyard, you have to have the M3 zoning, you have to go to the Board of Adjustment and get approval for that. So it's another step.
but what he was saying was that it's not a junkyard, and that's what I'm saying. And I think, and we probably ran into was the 30 days, the 90 days that he holds the he keeps the cars.
I got hold of it.
And that's what when we went down to planning and we spoke with them about it, it's like, he has to keep the car up to 90 days, but they say if you keep it over 30 days, then it's a junkyard.
You go down there, I mean, you almost intelligent, you heavily intelligent. Do you think it's a junkyard?
It appears, it has appearance of a junkyard, and here's the reason why.
No, talk, let's talk straight.
It looks like a junkyard. I mean, it looks like a junkyard, walks like a Yeah, but what I'm saying is, the reason why he has the cars there for a long time is because by law, he has to keep them for 90 days, and then after 90 days, then he has to then get rid of the cars, but he can't get rid of the cars before 90 days. The city says, you keep it over 30 days, then of course you need to rezone what to the heavy industrial. Right now it's light industrial.
You know what I'm real sympathetic for is a small businessman. I'm cognizant of the problem of small businessmen. Hey, I pay my taxes, I get in the zone, and so what I'm worried about, we try to legitimize something that somebody has done illegally. So I go over there, I go to Washington, D.C., I go over to Colorado, I'm going to Colorado Springs, and I just leave to have me some marijuana, and I want to pick me some marijuana because my legs hurt, and I come back to Alabama, and I said, okay, I got a legitimate reason because I'm taking it for medicinal purposes. It's an illegal activity.
I don't think it's illegal
trying to
activity.
legitimize the illegal activity.
Here's what I'm saying. My definition of a junkyard is that people come there and they get parts. He doesn't sell
That's
parts.
parts store.
He doesn't do that. People do not come there and say, hey, I need to see.
All these cars he's got there.
He just keep them there until after 90 days, then he gets rid of them. But
He
unfortunately,
moves all of them out now.
yeah, he turns them, but it takes
Is he
a
a
while to
record
turn.
service?
Excuse
Is he
me?
a record
What he
service?
does is when the city, I think it's, when there's a car that's been in somebody's backyard or front yard, it's broke down, he's the one that comes to pick it up.
But what does he do with them? Does he sell
He
the
sits
car?
them there, and they have to sit there by law for 90 days before he can then, either they come and get them, or he then gets rid of them.
So when he gets rid of them, what does he do? Does he scrap or junk, or does he sell?
Oh, I don't know how to dispose of them. But
It
that
could
was
be
the
used, could be like a used car lot.
So as a result of him keeping them over 30 days, they say you need to zone it to M3 heavy industrial. I personally don't see the difference between M1 and M3 in terms of money or funding or whatever the case may be. I don't know the implications of it. But my thing was, and the concerns that the citizen had was how it looked. So my primary working with him was either get a fence or move. Or like they say put them in a line. It's still there in the line, there's still too many cars there. So I was saying get a fence. Remember we tried to get an ordinance before to have people put fences up? he was one of the main ones that we were trying to deal with, but unfortunately that died on the vine. So I've been working with him individually, going back and forth with the planning to try to get it done.
Does he have a license?
Yeah, he got everything in place. I mean, he's a legitimate businessman, been in business for a long time.
Well, why are we getting a license if it's illegitimate?
No, he's legit.
He's trying to rezone it, so.
No, he doesn't break the law, it's just, it's an eyesore. I haven't went out there and personally, checked one car or anything like that, but I know he's keeping more than 30 days, for sure. And that's the issue, because 90 days is what he's trying to help him out. So we're concerned about the 30 days.
Charlie, I have a question though, and you said it, William, you mentioned to him that he should put a fence up to block it. Why are we gonna rezone it? If the man ain't even put a fence up, willing to do that.
Well, the
Don't
thing
rezone
was,
it, and he's out of compliance.
here's what we wanted to do. We said, okay, we went and got a petition of the people in the neighborhood that were complaining that he would then get a fence by April. And in between that, we were saying, keep it neat, what came up was, we then located some property, tried to get him to move all together. That fell through because somebody else came in and offered more money. So that just fell through last week. So we thought for the last 2 or 3 weeks we were gonna get him to move.
Well, you rezoned the property.
No fence up, so now I guess we back on the
You
fence.
rezoned the property, he ain't moving and putting a fence up.
Or putting a fence up.
That's pretty simple. You buying a baby stroller before you have a baby. I mean,
Right, just,
don't rezone it, and make the man put the fence up or shut him down.
But listen, we got another problem here. Why are we giving somebody a license? Help me out now.
It's out of compliance.
Okay, why are we issuing a license to someone who's out of
Does he have a
compliance?
license? Business license?
He gets a check from the city. He showed me, he had a check from the city that he gets for, it's not a major part of his business, but he showed me a check, council check from the city of Montgomery for the car.
Does he have a contract with the city?
And I asked one time, did he have a contract? I think, Matt told me he didn't see him.
I don't wanna know if he got a license. Does he have a license?
What is it, Thomas?
This is Darnell Bennett.
Yes.
This is better known as Nightmare Towing. He is an approved.
I'm sorry, what's the name of it?
Nightmare.
Nightmare Towing.
Nightmare Towing. And he is a towing replacement agent. He does not have a contract. He's been approved by the council to tow. Now, in my opinion, I think that he doesn't have adequate real estate to house what he's doing.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
And he's got overflow coming out onto the right of way, which is causing a problem.
And it looks as it's an eyesore. And
so we don't need to.
Don't rezone it.
Prove this.
What you need.
Take his business license.
If he's got one.
Take the abatement away.
With abatement.
Take the abatement.
But see, the
So he finds a place to put it.
It's a good first step.
You can be abatement, you can have an abatement. You don't have to be in the city, right? I mean, you can get somebody to tow who is not necessarily in the city, am I correct?
Yeah,
The towing company? Yeah, we can contract.
The nuisance
No,
abatement.
no.
But no, I mean, for policy, but theoretically, maybe you can.
Legally.
Yeah, legally, you can. So my question is this right here. Does the man have a license? I'm not talking about whether we approved him. We don't issue license, right?
He does have a license or he would not be in a.
What kind of license does he have, you know?
He's got a towing license.
Okay, towing license is not the same as a storing license, right? He doesn't have a license to run a business address.
Right.
A junkyard, or to sell cars, or to be a parts store, when you see a part, there's a parts store, or to sell a junkyard. He doesn't have a license.
He's got a business license to be a tow truck.
Okay?
Yeah.
So before we get to rezoning, I mean, he doesn't have a license.
he has a license.
Not to do what he's supposed to do. I got a license to be a lawyer. I don't have a license to sell no whiskey.
But what I'm saying is, what he's doing is, he base the vehicles, and he puts the vehicles on the property.
But he's gotta find a better place to put the business. I mean, put the vehicles.
I'm all for small business, man. I'm not for small business.
So when he picks the vehicles up, he puts the vehicles here at the location. And the problem is that, I'm telling you, the way the whole thing came about, citizens got upset. So they went to the planning, and then at that point, they said, okay, we're gonna, zone it, change it from an M1 to M3, which in my opinion, I don't see how that really changes anything. Going from M1 to M3, in my opinion, has no impact.
Legal.
Yes, but but anyway, because I don't know if somebody can explain the difference between M1 and M3 and how it would impact him either way. So I don't see how that's that, but the bottom line is the problem is
Give
that.
him over 30 days.
M3 would let him be a junkyard.
M3 would give you that if you got it approved by the Board of Adjustment. M3 and M1 are similar, but the intensity of the use of the property is greater in the M3 than in M1. Hyundai motor is M3. What you,
So let's say it's changed from an M1 to an M3. He still can keep doing what he's doing. Is what I'm saying.
No, we can't. He's not really supposed to be doing what he's doing now. He was trying to get him to do it.
When the rest of it, he's in violation.
he's in violation.
Okay, he's in violation.
And this is the only avenue open to him, or.
He's gotta move the
Well,
car.
let's close the avenue and then he gotta move. What you want, help you with his decision.
Well, what I want is I want it cleaned up. That's what I want. I want it cleaned up. I want to.
Don't vote on it tonight.
Or whatever, is it cleaned up or fence
Is he
around?
coming tonight?
Yeah, he takes.
We don't talk, we
Oh,
don't
this
talk
is
about
it, he's gotta move.
Okay, so we'll hold the
denial.
then
Denial.
the denial, then next step is go to the adjustment.
It's for him to clean up.
No, he gotta clean up.
Does the fence solve the problem?
Okay,
No, I think.
number 6.
Charlie, can I ask one more question of William?
Yeah.
William, does a fence solve the problem
A fence would solve the problem with the citizens. I
with
think-
the neighbors?
Yes.
Well, if you tell him tonight, you'll carry it over for 2 weeks or a month, and if he doesn't put the fence up, we're not gonna vote on it. And he's
Yeah,
gotta
I'll
move
talk
the
to
car.
him. He's out there.
If that solves it.
But it still doesn't solve the legal issue.
Well, yeah, he's gotta get a license, and that's.
But he can't get a license for what he's doing with his own the way it is.
Do what?
You hear? Item number 6. That's where the council meeting on okay? Anybody got any objections?
No, sir.
No, we can't.
How you doing? Go ahead. Whatever you say.
We're ringing in our ears.
Let that coming out of your hand. You the boss. Moving on. Moving on.
Withdrawing number 7, okay? Number 8, tear them down. 5 of them is torn down, okay? Number 9. Number 9 is just our vacancy. Brandon, you gonna be in there to tell us that? Okay? All right. That concludes our, anybody got anything else on vacancy?
Like used cars, you?
I want to know what they were planning on storing, after on Field Highway. Well, he said it's gonna be units that people can rent out, it's gonna be a storage facility. What kind of trailers, like tractor trailers? I mean, yeah. What company?
Back in.
Yeah, I know.
Is that right there?
That's why.
They got some tractors in there, right there.
Tommy, did you hear what she was asking the question about? Okay, you got it solved? Good. Burton Crenshaw's here tonight to talk to us about the, just our Montgomery Foundation and how they bid these applications.
I also have Jackie Johnson with me. She handles all the grants for the foundation. She's Vice President of Community Services. Do you want me to give an overview first, or how do you want me to?
Just as we know, we have a general understanding that when we get something that either we don't know about, or there may be a question or two about something, we've been referring them to the Community Foundation. Last time, y'all had some questions about their choice of letter that they wrote, and so somebody thought that it's a good idea to explain the process to you and to hear from you what concerns that you might have. So I think you can pick up how you go about it.
Okay. When the mayor came to me and asked if we would take on this process, what we did was we talked with the mayor and with Barry Crabb about what you needed to know about these requests, what information about the requests, what documents you needed for the city to issue HNA to these organizations. So we set up an application with questions that would outline everything that you needed, also asking for the attachments that you needed as well. So when these applications, they are on our website, they are open every day, 24/7, 7 days a week, all year long. They go on, they click apply now, they create a username and password. They're able to go in, work on the application, leave it in draft form, come back and forth to it, and then they hit submit. Once they hit submit, then we go in and review those applications. And we review them the same way that we review grant applications that come into the Community Foundation. When we review grant applications for the Community Foundation, we have a fiduciary responsibility to the donors that gave us that money that we are then going to grant out. And so we take on that same position in the case of city council grants, because in a way you have that same responsibility ultimately with your constituents with this money as to the obligation you have when you award this money. So we look at it the same way. When we look at applications, it doesn't matter if I actually know the organization already, if I know the person who runs that organization, if we've given them money in the past, it does not matter to us. We look at each application brand new. One, they may be asking for something different than they've asked for in the past. They may have different circumstances than they have in the past. So we have to look at them totally new every time. So we take on that responsibility with these applications as well. So when they come in, we review them, one, for, are all the appropriate documents there? What are they asking for? What are they going to do with the money? And is the budget according to what they've asked for? Then we draft up a kind of a form that says who the organization is, how much they're asking for, what district they're asking the money from. Some ask for one particular district, some ask from every district. What they're going to be spending the money on, whether they have all the documents, and then what our recommendation is. And that's all it is a recommendation to you as councilmen as to what we read in the application, what was or was not attached that is necessary. There was one instance where one of the required documents is an E-Verify certificate. We received from one of the applicants a typed piece of paper that had been scanned in that said, all of our employees are U.S. citizens. That was their E-Verify. That does not qualify. So those are the types of things we are looking at on your behalf. We are not receiving any compensation for doing this. We are just doing it because this is what we do as a community foundation. I mean, we kind of feel like we are really good at this. We've been doing it for 31 years. So we pass on the recommendations to Barry and to Mac, and then we don't know what happens after that. That's, they get presented, I'm assuming, and like I said, we don't cut the checks. If somebody calls in after filling out an application and wants to know the status of it, we refer them back to y'all because we have nothing to do with that after that. I believe there was one recent recommendation that we gave that was particularly in question. And I brought Jackie with me because she and I both handled this, and she actually wrote up this recommendation herself, but we both concurred on it. And so I'm going to let Jackie now give you her exact reasoning behind when she read that application, why she recommended what she did.
Okay, so I'm Jackie Johnson. I'm Vice President of Community Services with the Foundation. It is my job on a daily basis, year-round, to read grants and scholarships. That's what I do. That's what Burton hired me to do. So this particular grant, I think that is in question, she asked my opinion on it, both my personal and professional opinion, and that's what I gave. And that's what we do every day, year-round. So grants come into our foundation. I then make sure all of the required information is there. we then have a board member or more than one board member from our foundation that also reviews those grants. And I always try to find someone from the community who is completely objective to also review those grants. So once we then concur, then that information is presented to our board for their approval. So we do have a multi-step process. So apparently, the comments that I wrote, that I gave to Burton, and then it was passed on to you, there were some questions about that. I completely stand by my opinion and my analysis of that grant evaluation and any of the others that I do. I told Burton that I take the job seriously, and every night when I go to bed, I feel good about who I recommended or the comments that I've made on nonprofit organizations in our community and the impact that they are making and the difference that they are making in the lives of people in the 10 counties that we serve. Does anybody have a copy of that?
Could you speak to your reasoning for your recommendations in that particular instance?
Sure. Like Burton said, there is an application. I'm not sure if you all have a copy of it, if you all get to see what the application is. We ask for basic information, and the first thing I do is there are questions that should be answered. And they are simple questions. The questions that should be answered are the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Who are you? Who is your organization? How long have you been around? Give us some kind of information. What do you do, or what is it you want to do? Because our foundation, we award grants based on programs or projects. We don't support or fund setup, or if you want to purchase a building, or brick and mortar, or any operating costs. So we're not going to pay your salary in order for you to help someone in the community. We want to help the project or the program that you're going to put in. So we are program or project based. So the who, what, when. When are you going to perform this project or this program? When do you expect it to be completed? Why do you want to do this? What is the difference that you think you're going to make? Who are you going to help? So the who, what, when, where, why, and how are you going to do it? And so when reading the application, this particular application, I felt like all of that information was not made clear. It was quite vague, and we get that a lot. So because I now have to answer to the donors, the people who have given money to our foundation, I have to review a grant just as I would for our foundation. So in this particular case, the organization or gentleman, that's all that was mentioned, all of his questions were quite vague. As far as where these two programs or projects were going to take place was unclear. The organization said that they were going to work with children with autism, and that's all that they said. So it was not made clear where are we going to find these young people with autism. Autism is a code word that we hear a lot of. It's a hot topic, but you need to be specific on where we're going to find young people with autism. I put the qualifications of the staff were too general. All we have was staff. Well, who are the staff? Who are they? What are their qualifications? And what are their qualifications to work with young people with autism? And the last one was, and Burton is very particular on this, was the budget. The budget, the money. Are you looking for us or the city council to completely fund your program, which means we're going to fund your salary? So those were the four bullet points that I pointed out, Mayor.
Got a question, Mr. Bell?
I got a question for Chief. And I think it was something I put in. I don't think we were questioning your veracity. I don't think anybody was questioning your integrity. I don't think anybody was questioning your professionalism. That's not what I saw. You see, when I look in the mirror, I see Philip Michael Thomas, the guy that used to play in Miami Vice. You guys might see something else. You know what I'm saying? I hope my wife sees it. The problem, I think, I'm gonna tell you what, and I think over what you do, and we give y'all the benefit of money. I'm committed to what they do, Mayor.
Let me just suggest to you they get.
Okay. But here's the thing, or one thing when you were talking, you put down objective comments when you say vagueness. If you tell me it's vague, if you tell me something like e-verified, stuff like that, okay? Because see, when I say what's beautiful, again, if you put down this is beautiful, well, I don't know what you're talking about, because my concept of beautiful is different. So what I'm saying, I don't care about the, I don't mind the comments, the subjective comments. They could be helpful, but I need something that I can deal with objectively too, and I think that's the only thing that my concern.
I mean,
well, not what y'all do or anything like that.
If the person does a thing, can they resubmit?
Yes, oh yeah, and we are open to them calling, and Jackie does a phenomenal job with anybody that applies, whether it's for our grants process or y'all's. If they have a question while they're completing it, or if they got declined and want to know why they got declined, we always say, call us. We will walk you through what your application was missing, or what we need to know more about, what, you know, this was too vague. Where is your location of your services you're providing? If they don't give an address, we don't know where they're gonna provide these services.
Well, that's
That kind of stuff.
resubmit, that man.
Yeah.
Resubmit. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for what you do, appreciate it, I understand.
Any other-
where you're coming from. We got to move on, we got a lot more going on. Thank y'all for being here, watching. Ms. MC Franklin? Franklin?
Hello.
Hello.
I am Lucia Franklin, short NC Franklin. Can you hear me?
Yeah, barely, but.
Okay, I'll try to speak louder. My name is NC Franklin, short for Lucia Franklin. And I want to address with you all.
That's why I turned around.
I want to address a situation with you all that happened with me the day after Thanksgiving. And I had a situation with my car where it stopped on the road, and I had called MPD to come and help me. And they came and he gave me what do you call it when you put the cables on?
A jump.
A jump, yes. And he did that. But my car stopped again, and I hadn't driven very far, and he was still behind me. So I told him I could call my tow truck, because he said my car wasn't holding it. And I called my tow truck, and he said he'd give my tow truck time to get there. And I told him it'd be there within 30 minutes or so, because I called the tow truck before. And a little did I know that he had also simultaneously called the city's tow truck. And they were coming also simultaneously. His truck got there like 2 minutes before mine did. And as his truck came, I noticed it wasn't the truck that my insurance company told me was coming for my aid. And he said, no, that's not your truck, Miss Franklin, that's my truck, and it's coming to impound your car. I said, well, why is that? I have a tow truck coming, I don't need to be impounded. And he instructed the tow truck driver to put the hooks on my car. And as he did so, I could see my truck in the distance, yellow lights flashing. And he saw it also, and I told him, there's my truck there. You have to wait no longer. I'm going to get you cleared from the street. He still instructed the tow truck driver to hook up to my car. And I refused to let him tow me. And when I told him I did not want him to tow me, he told me I had to pay the tow truck driver to take the hooks off my car.
Have you spoken to anybody with MPD relative to this?
I did. I thoroughly investigated this with MPD and the tow truck company as well. MPD told me, I talked with Major Thompson. She said she talked with Officer Monday, his name was, and he told her that I should have called my tow truck when I was waiting for him to come to give me the jump. That I had ample time to call my tow truck then. But I didn't know I needed a tow truck at that time. I thought I only needed a boost or a jump. So after he told me my car wouldn't hold that, then I knew I needed to call the tow truck. So then I called. And he informed me that he would wait before he called his tow truck to come, but he didn't.
And so, at the end of the day, what is the situation? Have you made a claim against the city? Have you asked for a city investigation? Or is this your route of appeal? To Major Thompson.
This is it. This is my route of appeal. You're saying I need to ask
No,
for a
no.
city investigation?
Well, let me just do this. If you would, Charlie Burton is here. Where's Charlie? Charlie, if you can get with Charlie Burton. Tatum, Jack.
Can I speak to it, Mayor?
Yeah.
You just meet with him, that? Yeah,
No.
if you want to, I'll meet with you out here.
Yes, please.
Good.
I'd love to.
Thank you very much.
She says $50.
James Oliver?
Hello, everybody. First of all, let me say,
Which is what?
my name is James Oliver. I am the director of band, Alabama State Mighty Marching Hornets. And as you know, we are getting ready to, we're getting ready to leave to go to the Tournament of Roses parade. We will be representing not only ASU, but the city and the state of Alabama. And I want to thank the mayor. He has donated $5,000 towards that trip. And we truly appreciate that. That's one reason I'm down here to thank. But I'm also here to ask for some more, because it does help. And these are students. And if you can understand what I'm saying, some of these guys have never left the city of Montgomery or the state of Alabama. But to have this great opportunity to fly to Pasadena, California, and to get an opportunity to meet other bands from other countries, it's really, it's just an opportunity that they would not have had if we doesn't get the help that we need. So we are asking for more help, and we're saying that.
How much are you short? Because I'd heard $100,000 what the president had told me. In addition to what he just said, he's representing Montgomery, Alabama, and in the Rose Bowl parade, the band will be representing Montgomery, Alabama. Very prestigious, not only representing ASU, but Montgomery. So that's appropriate for us to support from an economic development standpoint. We did, in fact, but you were $100,000 short a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
You're still short?
We're still
group
short.
Can make up the $100,000?
Absolutely, we're still short.
How much is still short? How much?
We're short $50,000.
When you going, January what?
We're going December 28th. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there by the good Lord's blessing. We're gonna get there.
Everybody listen up. It's a $350,000 expense. Right?
Absolutely.
$350,000.
Who would you make this? How can you assure me, Dr. Oliver, that the money that I send to go to the band and wouldn't go to the
football,
to the theater?
Give it to him.
Well, there's the website, ASU website, and I can give you that site. It's alasu.edu. And once it opens, there's a giving. There's a link that says giving.
Well, he's not going to do that, Professor Oliver. What he's going to do is he's going to give some document to our city clerk, and it needs to go to ASU for travel expenses to.
It's going to go to the foundation, absolutely. Right out to the ASU Foundation.
I understand that. So we're gonna get. Let me tell you what I get out of the problem.
Okay.
I'm a graduate at Alabama State.
Right.
Taught at Alabama State, and I'm not jumping down your.
Well,
like y'all do it. Yeah. I know you. I know you do it, but sometimes Alabama State plays too much politics for me. Now, I'm talking two-time talk. I say it plays too much politics. I think it's worthy. I want to do something for you.
Thank you.
But I don't want to give it to the theater. I don't want to see nobody dance.
Designated.
How much is the university giving you?
Well, the university, state funds is not involved.
Why not?
Now, you have to deal with the president.
He wrote a $250,000 check.
I don't know.
Who did?
I don't know where the money came from.
I don't know.
He wrote
Who, Quentin?
Yes.
You can't get me caught up in the politics.
There you go.
But you understand that you're a state university, and
Yes.
we don't mind helping you, but I
Absolutely.
mean, the state ought to be helping you tremendously.
I agree.
well.
But I'm the band director. When I meet with the president, this is what he says, we have to raise the fund. If we're gonna go, we're not gonna use state funds. There are other things that they need, supplies. They just take me through all that. I understand. I do the same thing. Okay. So I'm out asking myself for my students is how can we get help from the city councilman to take these students to Pasadena. And by the way, we're going to lead the parade. We're going to lead that parade. We will be the first band in that parade, and this will be the first time this ever happened. Honda is supporting us.
And again, don't take it the wrong way, but
No.
I'm like, where's the state? Well, yes, you're representing Montgomery, but it's Alabama State University. I mean,
And it is. That's
So,
in Montgomery.
I agree. But it's good for the state, Montgomery, and everybody.
Absolutely.
You've got 300,000 of your 350 raised, is that it?
Yes.
And the county.
Everybody knows what we got to do, okay?
No, wait a minute, wait a minute, I got something.
Yeah.
I got a check for you, my wife told me to bring, I would've had it in the bag. I talked with you about it.
Right,
And, I picked it up last week, but I didn't bring it with me tonight.
okay.
Where do I need to take the check to?
To the ASU Foundation,
Nah, what I'm saying is, I have an actual check that I need to put in somebody's hand.
put it in his hand. You can put it in my hand.
Where is it going? I need an address.
Get a
I
phone
can
number.
walk the whole campus or something.
You can make it out to the university, but you can put it in my hand, but it has to have ASU Foundation / the band.
Okay, we'll work that out, but the
Yeah.
check's already been printed, so I
Yeah.
can let you look at it.
Okay, with
Yeah.
either way.
Either way, okay.
All I know, it needs to get to the band. I agree with Brother Bell.
Give me a telephone number.
I went 3 years
Thank you,
on
Doc. Thank you,
He went
Doc.
6.
Yes, sir.
We move on, I got.
Okay, I
I'll
understand.
drop it off tomorrow, just give me your number.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Bill, Rod,
Thank you, Dr. Allen.
Bill,
Thank you, sir.
you got something different to look at?
Yes, sir, I'll be very quick. As a matter of fact, I really don't want to talk. I just want to give you all this information that I thought you all would love to know, okay? And that is the fact that the Think Big program is going.
You gave me a copy.
The Think Big program is going strong at Jeff Davis because of the door that the superintendent opened for me by sending out a memo to all of his principals. And with that said, here's what I want you to understand, is that there are some serious needs at Jeff Davis High School. And I want to tell you, first of all, thank you for supporting the Think Big program so far. I really appreciate it. I wouldn't be in the game of doing what I do if you all hadn't made your contributions already. And I want to say thank you for that. But the job at Jeff Davis is mind-boggling. But I'm very pleased to say that the Think Big program is there and it's already making a difference.
Good.
So what you're doing is making a bigger difference than Super Bowl. It's making a difference now at Jeff Davis High School. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. There, you want to go executive?
We have
session?
executive session.